Welcome to the Hardcore Closer Podcast. I'm Ryan Stewman, founder of HardcoreCloser.com, and this podcast is all about helping you, the salesperson, close more sales. And look, whether you're selling cars, homes, financial services, consulting, whatever it is that you sell, this podcast is dedicated to help you generate higher quality leads, increase your closing ratios, and show you how to charge premium fees for the items you sell so you can get paid what you're worth. What's up, Closer Nation? Welcome to episode number 95 of the Hardcore Closer Podcast. And as always, I am so glad you are here. If you're a first timer, be sure to check out all the previous episodes. And look, do me a favor. If you're listening to this on iTunes specifically, make sure you leave me a review. And here's the thing. We've got almost 700 reviews last time I checked. So for those of you that are leaving reviews, thank you. Thank you very much. I put the time in every single week. I have to listen to low energy Robert complain about having to need more energy and how coffee's not enough and that they don't make enough Monster and all these things before I'm actually allowed to get on here and still garner up the amount of energy I can and run this podcast. And all jokes aside, you know, I give Robert a hard time because he deserves it. So anyway, and so here's the thing. I do all this every week, endure Robert's bullshit and everything else to help you. And so all I ask for you to help me in return is to leave me a review on iTunes, because the more people that leave reviews, the more legitimacy it brings to the show. When people look at it and they see there's all these reviews, they're like, oh, wow, I'm going to check it out. And then when they check it out, I might just say that magic combination of words that unlocks the lock inside their mind that's kept them closed-minded. I think I might have I've been waiting to find the end of that quote forever. The keys to unlock the inside of I've got the keys to unlock your closed mind. See, there we go. Bam. And I think I'm finally working that one out. I've been working on that for a couple of years. I know it may sound weird to you, but again, you look for that right combination of words, and a little squirrel got me right there. You guys saw that. But anyway, you leave a review on iTunes, man. It helps out so much, because then iTunes starts showing other people and suggesting my podcast and everything else. It means the world to me, because my goal is to help influence 300 million people, because I know that the law of numbers shows that if I can get in front of enough people, then there will be enough of those people's lives changed to where we can change the world. Right? If I'm in front of 300 million people, I've already helped 20 people, a little over 20 people become millionaires. If I can get in front of 300 million people, what if we could create 100,000 millionaires, or a million millionaires, or 1 billion millionaires, right? But the key is, I need your help. I can't do it alone. I can show up here every week and bring you killer content, make you laugh, make you think, but I need you to leave me a review. Like my man, Victor Tarn right here. He says, Victor the recruiter. He says, I'm an Army recruiter. Hey, first of all, thank you for your service, Victor. Out of Mansfield, Texas. By far, this is the best motivational in-your-face podcast. I truly enjoy listening to Ryan every morning on the way to work, and I've made it a part of my daily routine. Army strong. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Victor, it says right here in Mansfield, I'll tell you this story. A few weeks ago, they had something called Want to Go Fast, which is a race here in Dallas, and it was at the old Air Force base in Grand Prairie, the one that's been shut down, which is pretty close to Mansfield out there. And man, this place was abandoned, and the only thing that was there was, so the GM plant where they make all the Escalades and Suburbans and Tahoes is right here in Arlington, which backed up to this military base. So there's like tens of thousands of Tahoes out there, old school military planes, and then like badass Lamborghinis and Ferraris, because it was a private event. So it's like badass Lamborghinis, McLarens, Ferraris, and all that shit just racing down the airstrip, dude. It was awesome. I don't know if you've ever been out there, but that was pretty badass. Just thought I'd tell that story. But thank you again, Victor, for your service. Hey, I'm glad that you like this too. If you'll send an email to Ryan@hardcorecloser.com, just tell me who you are. I'll reply, Victor, with a link that will help you recruit more people into the military. I'm all about that. I've got some sales training on it, actually. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so real quick before we get into the content, the episode here, I want to remind you, because this episode is going to go deep quick, but I want to remind you how important it is that you get with the right people at the right time at the right place. People go to church on Sunday, not just to hear from a preacher, but to be a part of something bigger than themselves. People go to the synagogue, people go to mass, whatever it is. People belong to communities, people belong to charities so that they can belong to something bigger than themselves. I've created that something bigger than all of us. We call it Break Free Academy Entourage. And whether you're looking to grow your business or whether you're looking to grow your network or whether you just want to make more money and dominate shit, I have the network, the platform, and the tools available for you. Everything from how to market yourself for free on Facebook to how to buy ads on Facebook, Google, YouTube, LinkedIn. I've got it all for you in one place, plus a network with over 1,000 members that'll be able to help you. I mean, think about it. If you get with the right people at the right time, the right place, you could be an insurance salesperson. You could meet all sorts of real estate agents. You could be a financial planner. You can meet all sorts of people that I told you I've helped 20 people become a millionaire. And lots of them in this group are on the quest for it. So here's the thing. If 2017 was a bang out year for you, awesome. Congratulations. If it was another repeated year for you where you stayed flat on income, hey, well, at least you didn't go down. If it was a down year for you, it's just going to be that much easier to turn it around next year. But I want to be a part of that no matter what level you're on. I want to help lead you. I want to provide the content that gets you to the next level. We have people that message me every day talking about how we changed the game for them. I want to change the game for you. I got 7 years in this game. 7 years. Proven result time and time again. I don't let people down. And I won't let you down either. Go over to breakfreeacademy.com/entourage. Let me mentor you on a weekly basis and show you what it takes to reach. Doesn't matter. Maybe you make more money than I do. Let me show you what it takes to have the right mentality. Right? Maybe you have the right mentality. You say, I'm smarter than you too. Right. Let me show you what it takes to be a good dad. There's always ways we can help each other out. Teach me. I'm coachable too. Come be a part of the network, contribute to something bigger than yourself at breakfreeacademy.com/entourage. Because here's what I know. The wealthiest people on the planet belong to a mastermind. The Bilderbergs, the Illuminati, all masterminds. You have a chance to belong to one too. It's with me, and I want to belong to one with you. So let's talk about this week's episode. It's the end of the year, and I'm going to go, the topic I'm about to give you, you wouldn't think it's normally something deep, but I'm about to go real deep real quick on this one. And the thing is, I'm going to teach you as a salesperson how to set yearly goals and a goal for the year. And I'm going to teach you the significance of goal planning in a way that you've never heard it before. And I'm going to teach you some deep shit, because goals isn't just about writing something down. Goals isn't just about wanting something more. Goals isn't just about winning or accomplishing anything. So it's bigger than that. And let's talk about goals. Okay, so most salespeople, they set a goal in their mind. They don't write it down. They set a goal in their mind, and that goal is super vague. And by super vague, they say, I want to be rich. I want to be successful. By the end of the year, I'll be debt-free. They say these really vague goals. And that's a trick. It's a trick from this thing called the force of average. You see, let's just take God out of the equation, or whatever you call him, and let's just all be practical and logical for a second and say that we're a simulation living on a server. This blue sphere that we live in is nothing more than a USB plugged into an outlet somewhere. And on this blue sphere, we've been coded with an algorithm, much like the Google or Facebook or any other internet based or any other engineering based mechanism works, right? We've got this blue sphere that's been coded with an algorithm. Well, that algorithm, much like, on Google, the algorithm's called Penguin. On Facebook, the algorithm was EdgeRank. Well, I call this algorithm here on Earth the force of average. You see, because Earth was made on a grading curve. If there is an average for everything, for Newton's law says what goes up must come down, right? An object in motion will stay in motion, right? There's this force of average. And so at any time when you try to break through being average, Because being below average is actually really easy. Being average is actually really easy. But even breaking any time above average is when the force of average comes against you. And one of those tricks the force of average uses is called the struggle. You see, all of our lives, we've been told that things are happily ever after, right? We say, oh, in the end, they live happily ever after. And Hansel and Gretel lived happily ever after. And the princess in the castle with the prince lived happily ever after. In the movies, you watch it, he's like, he rescued the town, got the girl, lives happily ever after. But happily ever after is bullshit. It doesn't exist. It's a trick from the force of average to get you focused on happily ever after, which doesn't exist, to keep you distracted from focusing on the struggle, which does exist. And then when the struggle shows up in a motherfucker's life and slaps them, they're always shocked because they were like, I was looking for happily ever after and the struggle fucked me. The truth is happily ever after doesn't exist, but the struggle is always there. So the key is to be on the lookout for the struggle. Well, I tell you this because the force of average is this algorithm and the struggle is like Norton antivirus. So anytime you start breaking above average, anytime you rise above average, anytime you catch above average momentum, the force of average sends the struggle in just like Norton antivirus because it thinks you have a virus because you're going above and beyond. You're superseding the code. You're superseding the algorithm. And what happens is this little Norton antivirus called the struggle comes in, resets you, and most of the time slaps you hard enough to where you don't want problems anymore, and you go right back down to living an average life and talk about how money doesn't buy you happiness and other stupid shit people that have decided to live average lives say. You see, but not me. I'm paying attention because I've really learned in my 38 years how this fucking world works. And if for every up, there's a down, then you got to learn, much like the stock market, for every up, there's a down, but people make money in down markets, they make money in up markets. You've got to learn that if every up, there's a down. For every time that you catch momentum, the force of average is handing you drag. You've got to learn how to make the most of that drag, how to make sure you're dragging the right shit, and how to penetrate through the force of average and keep momentum even when it's handing you drag. And looking for something that will let you be happily ever after will not cure that problem. What will cure that problem is carrying the right drag. But see, oftentimes we're handed this drag and we think it's the right drag because the drag's in a bag and the bag's Louis Vuitton. And you're like, this is a nice bag. I don't want to leave it behind. But oftentimes, if you're going to keep momentum going, you have to let go of that drag. You might have to trade that Louis Vuitton in for an old beat up Walmart paper sack. If that's what it's going to take for you to lighten the load to be able to continue on that. You might say, what in the fuck does all this have to do with goal setting, Ryan? Well, when the struggle comes in, one of the things that it knows is that a mind gets what it focuses on. And so the force of average sends the struggle into people who are focused. Distraction is one of the biggest tricks the struggle pulls on people, because the force of average and the algorithm and the struggle all know that a human being sets their mind to something, they can accomplish anything. Look at fucking Stephen Hawking. Look at that guy, Oscar Pistorius. Never mind the fact that he killed people. But he fucking got no legs and he won the Olympics. Look at Michael Phelps. Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk figured out how to run the whole fucking planet from the sun, and still make money from it. The human mind gets what it focuses on. Look at those guys, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. They focused. Nothing distracted them. The struggle came in. The struggle pulled in his big old titties and rubbed them all up in their face and tried to distract them. And they said, fuck you, get away from me, woman. I'm trying to work. Most people don't have that level of focus. They fall victim to them big old titties of the struggle shaking in their face. I'll never forget one time I had an employee say, man, when you started making all this money and you were single, man, you were probably stacking girls on top of each other and doing coke off their ass. I said, man, I never did any of that. He said, why, man? You made all this money. You're a good-looking dude. And I said, you know what? Because I'm not going to fall for some average shit. That's what most people do. They get money, then they go blow it on stupid people of the opposite sex that don't give a damn about anything but their money. They go buy family members all this shit, friends all this shit, and in the end, they're left alone, and everybody shits on them because the people that you give handouts to are usually the people that hate on you. You should write that down. So here's the thing. The struggle comes in and tries to get you distracted because it knows if you get focused, you get what you focus on. And one of those distractions is to get you to focus on the wrong thing, to get you to focus on the big ass titties, to get you to focus on that thing that's negative, that's never going to happen, but you're worried in the event that it does. To get you focused on all the wrong things so that you attract all the wrong things, because if you focus on the right things and you start beating the struggle, it don't like being beat. It will run away, tail between its legs, but it does not like being beat. So here's what the struggle does. It teaches you to be vague. It makes your language vague. It makes your goals vague. It makes your ideas vague. It makes you philosophical instead of practical. That's what it does. It comes in and you say, my goal is to be rich. Well, what the fuck does that even mean? That's some vague shit. How can you attain something that you don't have a clear and true focusable definition? So most people set their goals. They say, oh, I want to make $10 million next year. Well, how are you going to do that? Through what? What are the numbers of sales that you're going to do to work there? Because if you don't know your numbers, how are you ever going to hit them? You just guesstimating through this shit. So when you set your goals, you should set your goals, the big goals, and then do the math that works to them, because you need to know the specifics. You need to know how many sales it is to reach your goal. You need to know how many sales per day, week, month, quarter. You need to know how many chargebacks that includes. You need to know what that average commission is. You need to know how much it's going to cost you out of pocket, how many hours you're going to have to work, how many dials you're going to have to make, how many leads you're going to have to call. Because guess what? When you get focused on doing those things, the force of average can't help but let you just keep going through momentum. It steps back. The most successful people are the people that just keep going through the motions. When I worked in the corporate world, the guys that made the most money, other than me, because I was always number one, were the guys that could work the CRM and follow the system to a T. They didn't get distracted. They stayed focused. They followed up. They worked the CRM system. They made second and third place behind me every single month. Why? Because they had clear and precise daily goals. Their daily goals was to get through all the shit that was in their CRM and set themselves up for the next day. They stuck to it over and over again. These guys in the car business making 15, 20 grand a month just selling cars. And by the way, that's like top tier car guy. I don't care what, like 1% of the car world makes over 8 grand a month. No matter what they tell you, we know the truth. Most car guys are living on less than 100 grand. The average car person makes 70 grand a year. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying everybody that sells cars acts like they're rich. And that's not the case. Not the case. But you can get rich. You just got to do the math to be able to be the car dealer, right? You got to be able to work the math. Say if you want to make $1 million selling cars, okay, cool. I make $1 million selling cars. Here's how many cars I have to sell to do that. In order to do that, I probably need my broker license. I probably need these salespeople, this person, this finance guy, these banks. Like, set a fucking plan and focus on it. It's another trick force of average brings, especially when you're trying to set your goals, to try to sell you can't do something and get you to set your standards too damn low. Small thinking is a trick from the struggle. The antivirus comes in, it's like rewires the big thinking back into small thinking, shuts the fucking gate in front of the server, and rolls right the fuck back out to the algorithm. That's all our body is. If you think about it, our body is a 3-pound piece of gray mass hidden inside a skull operating an entire body, our brain. And that brain is a computer program. And in that brain, that computer program and that algorithm is still as effective inside that brain as it is on this planet, because it's part of this planet. And you say, well, man, what are you talking about, the force of average? You ever have a good month then a bad month? Right? You ever have a good day then a bad day? Our best days always followed by our worst, or our worst days always followed by our best? Right? That's the ups and downs. You make a whole bunch of money, you ruin a relationship. You got a perfect relationship, you got no money to take her out. Right? Like, that's the force of average. For everything that goes up, something must go down. That's how life rolls in general. I realized this first time when I was 17 years old. And I wasn't quite sharp enough to articulate it back then, but I get it now. And so when you set your goals, no matter what they are for 2018, don't set vague goals. That's the biggest trick that everybody falls for. And if you set vague goals last year, that's why you didn't accomplish them. Set very specific goals and then take the time. It is totally worth it, especially if you really, really, really want it. Take the time to reverse engineer the numbers to achieve those goals and then follow it just like a dotted line. So 2018 is approaching quickly upon us, and I want it to be your most prosperous year. I'll encourage you again to join me over at breakfreeacademy.com/entourage, where we can help push you. We can show you the numbers. We can show you the math and everything else, and really just be a part of something bigger than you. It's catching that momentum, fighting that force of average together. And when you got 1,000 people that are woke looking for the struggle ain't got nowhere to hide. So with that being said, thanks for listening this week. Make sure you share this on social media. If you'd like a free copy of my best-selling book, Elevator to the Top, just go over to elevatortothetop.com. That book is everything that you need to know about sales from day one to retirement. So whether you're a gangster veteran making $1 million a year in sales or whether you're a new guy making $40,000 a year, go grab the book. It's free, elevatortothetop.com, and get your copy. And I've got 5 more books on Amazon besides that one. If you want to go over there and pay for a couple, by all means, go ahead. Catch you next week.